Hello, hello. It is another episode of Dropping into Happiness. We are your hosts. I am Rachel.
And I'm Maggie.
Yay! I feel I do that little cheer every time that you say your name. I'm like cheering you on. I don't know. Just it's the cheerleader in me, I guess.
It just reminds me of Hamilton, and I'm Peggy. I don't know. And Peggy.
I know.
Shout out musicals.
You know what's funny? Whenever I'm doing our editing, we laugh a lot. And I love that we laugh a lot. We just seem to crack each other up. So I love the banter, love the back and forth. But so welcome to anybody who this might be a new podcast for you coming in hot. I know. Hi, if you're watching on YouTube. So welcome everybody. So if you are unfamiliar with me and Maggie, we have both lost just over 100 pounds. We did that with the WW program, actually a previous program. We're continuing on with their personal points program. And that's how we lost our weight. Maggie is still in weight loss mode. Actually, I am going to be super transparent. I am back in weight loss mode. I was in maintenance. However, I guess I wasn't mastering it as well as I had thought. And I weighed in the other day and it had gone up. So I was like, ooh, I don't want it to go that way. So I am now also in weight loss mode as well. However, so is life. We have our ups and downs. We figure this out every single day. But I do have an announcement before we hop on into our topic this week, which we're going to be talking about coming back from a negative mindset. But we have a merch store now. I don't know how many people know about the merch store. If you can see, I have my shirt on today. I even today I had my mug. I was using it earlier too, and it says "Having a magical day" because Maggie said so.
Yes, we're all decked out. I gotta get some merch. Yay.
I know. I mean, there's like joggers on there, and there's
hoodies,
and
totes.
I know. Yes. Yeah, I know. I want like all of the things. There's a sticker, like if you just want to like put your sticker up somewhere just to represent the podcast. Yeah. I'm loving it. I'm loving all the merch. Like I get very excited when we have our merch stuff out. So yeah, just putting that out there. It's super easy to find. If you go to our Instagram and you go to our Linktree link, it's the very top one. It'll link you straight to the merch store. Very easy to get to. Let us know. And if you get them, tag us in it, post it, let us see it. We want to see your merch. And
yes.
Super fun. So, okay, hopping into this week's topic. So I almost said technique. This week's topic. So we're talking about a negative mindset, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm giving my mom a shout out. This was actually one that she wanted us to cover. Coming back from a negative mindset because I feel like no matter how motivated we are going into a program, going into a weight loss journey, I feel like that negative mindset can hit us at some point in time, no matter what the case may be or why it's kind of coming up. I feel like it's something that can absolutely hit anybody at any time. So Maggie, when I say a negative mindset, what comes to mind for you of what that means?
I just experienced a negative mindset season. It lasted about a couple of weeks and I really just feel myself coming out of it. And for me, it manifests itself into, excuse my French, F it. Right? F this. And that's what I really do say in my head. And for me, I hear myself saying things like, what's the point? Why do I bother? Why do I have to do this when other people don't? And just those really kind of negative questions where I just feel like I don't know why I'm doing this. Right? We kind of lose our why a little bit there.
Yeah, I genuinely feel like my negative mindset is a bully. Like I guess I'm a very visual person, so I give it like a little face and a little attitude, and it's and I feel like I guess I do that too to kind of separate it from myself. Like it's someone else. It's not myself. It's just this awful bully that I get in my head of and I think some of the things I've heard in the past are I'm just not going to be a healthy person. I can't figure this out. Why would I think that I could actually do this? And we've kind of talked about that in our WW workshops recently, about how I would genuinely get to that point where it would just feel, the whole thing would feel so overwhelming because I knew I had so much to lose that it just felt, incomprehensible. And like, so it was very, you won't be able to lose all that weight. Like you can't do like, what? This is too much. This is too much. Why bother? This is just too hard. You're never going to figure this out. And, I don't like it. I mean, it's been a while since I've had that. And I feel like our community has really helped that and like our connection and having that support system. But that negative mindset is such a bummer because sometimes it just hits us out of nowhere.
Right. Because not only, can you have a negative mindset in your health and wellness journey, but also just in day-to-day life? Day-to-day life itself is not easy, and then you throw in, okay, now
Mm-hmm.
I have to show up and be committed to my health and wellness. I think yours is the bully, mine's like the bratty teenager. Like, I don't want to do this. Why do I have to do this? Right? This is hard,
They don't
right?
have to.
And so it definitely can creep in when you least expect it. And if you don't observe that this is happening, recognize that this is happening, and try to reframe it, it can snowball, right? We build
Oh,
momentum in
yeah.
our journey, and we can build positive momentum, and we can certainly build that negative momentum. We talked about in our techniques and workshop recently, the self-compassion is so important, but then following up with that action plan. Okay, what are we going to do about
Mm-hmm.
it? So,
Yeah. Well, and I feel like sometimes it's a little tricky too. It's not always going to be those negative words.
mhm.
So so over the summertime, it was like my birthday was coming up, and I was like, oh, I'll just kind of not really pay attention. It's my birthday. I'm just gonna back off a little bit. And then a few weeks after my birthday, I had gone to Vegas. Oh well, I'll get back on track after Vegas. And I just kept doing that. So I was not being mean to myself, but I just kept kind of going backwards and going backwards and going backwards on my momentum. So I wasn't being super mean to myself, like, oh, you're never going to get back on track. But I wasn't motivating myself either. So I think sometimes it can be a little hidden. Like, so it's not necessarily being mean or rude or negative, but just not having that mindset anymore. We kind of pull back from it. We give ourselves too much leeway. And I guess because I kept telling myself, well, I know how to do it. I know how to do it. I can come back. I
I
can come back.
got
I can come
this.
back.
I got
Yeah.
this.
That's literally what I was saying in workshops the other day. Like that was usually, I'm like, oh, I got this. I know how to do this. I know how to come back. But then I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And then it just kept sliding and sliding and sliding. And I love that I didn't have the bully come back, because it's so many times in the past that bully would just be like, why bother? Why are you bothering? Like, this is just who you are. That's another one I would have. Well, this is just who you are. I don't know why you think you could be any different. And
I
not allowing myself to have that healthy lifestyle, because I just kept thinking, oh, why would you think you can figure this out? Oh, I
It's
hate that
almost
one.
that all or nothing mentality. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'll start tomorrow, or oh, I'll start in a week. And it's like, well, how can I still take care of myself in Vegas? And, maybe I'm still living my life. I'm still enjoying yummy foods or yummy drinks or whatever the case may be, but I'm showing up for myself in other ways. I'm speaking kindly to myself about other aspects of my journey, right? It's kind of, the negative mindset can definitely go hand in hand with the all or nothing, because when we're
Mm-hmm.
feeling like we're doing nothing, that's when the negative thoughts can creep in.
Yeah. So did you say you were having one recently? Like, you were kind of having
Yes,
that backslide?
I've had a recent aha moment, y'all. And, for those listening, we do record in advance. So
Mm.
just to give you all context, this is late February right now. And I just hit my second year on program. My first year on program, I hit 100 pounds down. And I was so excited because that was a big milestone that I was working towards. I had just got to Wonderland and then lost, 10 extra to get to this 100 pounds down. And I let myself celebrate and be excited, but it wasn't long before, kind of like what Rachel was mentioning, I thought, oh, I still have 45 pounds plus to go, and then I have to maintain this for my lifetime. You know, oh my goodness. A lot of people, they lose 100 pounds and they're done, right? Other than the
Yeah.
maintenance aspect of their journey. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I still have this huge milestone to go. And I didn't realize at the time, but I let that kind of take hold and plant seeds in my mind. And that's when this whole, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to keep doing this? What's the point? That kind of language started to creep in slowly but surely. And for a long time, the positive voice was drowning out the negative. I'd have a negative thought, I'd reshift it to a positive thought. And I thought, okay, I got this. I got this.
Mm-hmm.
But I hit my 2-year anniversary. The scale had not moved significantly in over a year. Here we are, almost March, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm still not moving the scale. I'm still not staying 100% consistent. I'm still not doing everything that I need to do to get to goal. What's the point? F this. And I had
Yeah.
a week. F this. I was like, I had a week where I felt like a bratty teenager, and I said yes to the pizza, and I said yes to the Chinese
Yeah.
takeout, and I said yes, 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 which, yes, we can have all things on WW, but not everything at
Yeah.
once. And I was saying, what's the point anyway? The scale's just going to go up, or the scale's not going to move anyway, so what's the point? And then I saw the scale going up, and I'm thinking, I don't want this behavior either. I'd rather stay at the weight that I am now and have a positive
Right?
mindset and take care of my health and wellness than to be negative like this and see the scale just continue to go up. I said, I'm not going back. Y'all may have listened to episode 1 and 2 where Rachel and I really talked about why we wanted to lose weight and how our lives have changed. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to go back. I said, okay, enough's enough. Obviously, this negative attitude is not working, but what can I do differently? And that's when I got into problem solving mode. And I think that's the action plan part of it, right? When
Yeah.
we're beating ourselves up, we feel like we're not making any progress, then that's when we have to get into problem solving mode, rewind the tape, think back to the time when we were successful. What was going on? What's going differently now, right? I mean, all those things. So I was calling my mom. I was calling my friends. I was saying, this is what I'm going through and I'm really upset, but I have to keep going. And, having those
Yes.
conversations really helped me be like, okay, I am in control of the situation, how I speak to myself,
Mm-hmm.
how my outlook on my healthy lifestyle, that regardless of the scale, this is for life, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
worth taking care of myself. So I'm feeling better this week. This week, the week that we are filming this, is the
Yeah.
best I have felt on program mentally in a long time.
I love that.
Yes, I'm so excited about it. And I don't talk about it a lot. I don't know if you
Yeah.
feel this way, Rachel, when we're coaches, we share our
Mm-hmm.
journeys on social media. And I know Rachel is this way as well, try to bring a positive light to a community that can be negative, that can have those inner
Mm-hmm.
bullies, right? So we try to be that example. And I feel like I was suffering in silence for a long time because I just didn't want to admit that I wasn't in a great headspace. And I thought if I
Yeah.
admitted it, I was just going to make it snowball even further, right? I was just going to be that broken record that was like, "Oh, I'm trying to get
Yeah.
back on track." And I just don't want
Well,
to be that person, but we have to talk about it.
I was doing that. Like I said, so I, full transparency, I put on about 15 pounds since June, which is not a ridiculous amount of weight, and I had to rethink that too. Like that means that I've still lost 86 pounds, which is huge. So
Yes.
I'm still very proud of that, but I don't want it to keep going that direction. And I kid you not, I don't think I weighed myself for almost a month because I was like, I know I haven't been, as aware. I know I haven't been as present with what I'm eating and what I'm taking in. There were still certain things that I still won't have regular soda. I just can't. It's too sweet for me now. There were still certain things that I wouldn't do, but I would have that extra slice of pizza and I would have that extra piece of candy. And I kept thinking to myself, like, I can do that. I can have these things, but then I wasn't tracking it. And I wasn't, and when we don't track that, we don't pay attention. Because then
Right.
we're like, we don't realize how much we're consuming in a day, and we don't realize how many extra things, extra calories, and I was getting very complacent, and I think scared to weigh in. And so finally, the other day, I was like, this is me. This is my journey. I need to do this. I need to face the music. And all weekend workshops, I've been telling people out loud, I'm like, you guys, I'm going to tell you what's going on with me, and this is what's happening, and I'm getting back to basics because I had a really kind of kick in the pants probably 7 months into my journey. I, as you like to say, I was maintaining my progress for, about 6 weeks. I was not intending to maintain my progress. For those that don't know what that means, that's a plateau. When you're really trying,
The scale's not moving.
but it's not doing anything. And I had started to get that, like, well, what's the point? Why am I putting in all this effort if the scale isn't going to move? And I think I was scared that was going to happen. But because of our community and because of our support and because of the way that we do encourage others to recognize, like you said, rewind the tape. We talked about that last year, about this time last year in WWE workshops. And that has always been kind of one of my favorite techniques, is to rewind the tape. Okay, look back, what was working? And I have a whole list of things that I'm going to go to the grocery store to get this weekend, because there were certain snacks that I always had on hand. There, I used to love doing Fitness Marshall on YouTube, and I hadn't done that in months. I mean, I still go to the gym on Mondays, and I was still going to another class during the week, but then that was it. I wasn't getting in my walks anymore. I wasn't kicking myself about it, but I also wasn't putting in any effort. And that was big for me, to not kick myself about it, to not be like, oh, I can't believe you're doing this again. You know what I mean? Because we talk about it so much, about how we're going to see those ups and downs, and it's going to happen. We're not always going to be motivated, but building habits and finding that dedication, which even when we have these backslides, these little slips, I still feel like I'm very dedicated to my health and wellness journey. And I was really, really psyched that even when I saw that raise on the scale, I grabbed my phone, I put it in my app, I tracked it for the week, and I was like, okay, let's move forward. Right? Like sometimes we just
almost
have to
feels like a fresh day one.
Yeah.
Feels like a fresh day one. And I was thinking about this weekend, and I was talking to my mom about it. She's also on a journey, and she's lost over 115 plus pounds. And I told her, it's interesting. I think in 2 years on WW that I should be a goal. I should have this. I should, I should be successful. I've been working at this so hard for 2 years. I've been living my life in an unhealthy way for 26 years. And I'm expecting that in 2 years to have just totally revamped and changed all the habits and made everything so easy and peasy. And I'm thinking, what? I mean, the logic there was lacking, honestly. And I think we talk about positive and negative, and obviously today's conversation is about the negative. I think there's somewhere in the between complacency. And I think, Rachel, as I'm listening to you share and thinking about my own kind of struggles recently, I feel like we were in a place of complacency, not necessarily positive, not necessarily negative, beating ourselves up, but just kind of on autopilot, like you said, like lack of intention. And that can feel negative because we're not seeing results. But we're not putting in the positive effort either. So it's
I am loving that terminology. I like that. Right? It was just complacency. Like I said, I was still doing some of my healthy habits, and so I felt like, oh, it's okay. I'm still doing this. I'm still drinking my water. I'm still going to the gym. Oh, but I don't want to weigh myself because I don't want to see what that looks like. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to see it. And it was like one thing that I did feel like I was I should have been more open with is I would still say, oh, I've lost over 100 pounds, which I did, but I've been slowly putting it back on, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to get back down to, my 101 and even a couple more if I can, but, I just don't want it to keep going that direction. I don't want it to keep going because I don't want to get back to that super unhealthy person that I was. I don't want to get back to not feeling good about myself. I don't want that bully to come back, because I feel like I've kind of kicked that bully's butt. Sometimes when they say the best way to get rid of a bully is to like face them head on. And I feel like I did, because like you said, for so many years, it was for me, it was almost 38 years that I just was not having great habits, and I was not eating good food choices, and I was not I'm gonna put this out there. I will be 40 in June. And I know
I keep forgetting we're both June babies.
Yes, it's a big milestone, and it's.
I just can't believe that. That is so wild. You're just too young. No,
I know. I was telling my mom, I was like, I feel like some people, like my husband, really had a hard time with turning 40. But I really am not, because I know I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I'm the most athletic I've ever been. I'm the fittest I've ever been. And I want to keep that momentum going, because like you said, sometimes like we've told, because that's kind of another question I had for you. Like when you see others having that negative mindset, what would you tell a friend? And I feel like I had to do that for myself, like turn back to my why. Why did I do this in the first place? Like back to episode 1. Why did we want to do this in the first place? And my health is my big primary. And I had to get back to, okay, why was I doing this in the first place? Remember that. But I love that I can turn to that. I can turn to my why. I can turn to my support system. I can turn to our community. I can turn to so many things to help pull me out of that negative mindset, which
Right.
I've had to do on more than one occasion. But and I feel like the more times I've done it, the easier it's getting. Does that make sense?
Yes, like the more you recognize, whoo,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a negative mindset, need to reshift my focus. The more you do that, the quicker you're able to notice that it's happening, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the big question we ask is like, okay, how do you know you're in a negative mindset? How do you
Yeah.
know you're having a thought that needs to be reframed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the more you if you say those thoughts out loud, I will never lose the weight. I will never hit lifetime. I am not worth this. If you say those things out loud, you're like, oh, that's not really what I mean. Like
Yeah.
I feel a little bit better about myself than that, right?
Yeah.
And so when we say them out loud and we kind of hear what they sound like, then I feel like when they go past us in our mind, it's more like an alarm bell, like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, wait a minute, reframe. What's the reality check here? And Rachel and we've talked about the shift. I feel like that's such a helpful
Mm-hmm.
supplement for the mindset to help work through identifying that negative mindset. But yeah, it does get easier the more that you do it. And like Rachel was saying, leaning into the community,
Yeah.
talking about it, not being afraid of opening up, having that vulnerability because we're
Yeah.
not alone. I mean, Rachel and I had no idea when we sat down today, we were both going through similar things.
Yeah.
We had no idea until we started talking about it, right? It's like,
Yeah.
and then it's like this cathartic feeling like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm not alone. And I
I was
think,
going to say that. I feel like a lot of us feel like we're the only ones going through that, or we feel like we're going to be judged for it. Like I literally was in a workshop this morning with Andrea. I adore her. If anybody's on WW and haven't been to Coach Andrea, she's amazing. And this morning she literally said that. She said, she same concept that you and I like, especially me, like, we've lost all this weight, but we've put some back on in the last, 6 to 12 months. And she even said, she goes, you guys wouldn't call me and be like, I can't believe you did that. What's wrong with you? She's like, you would never call me and say that. She's like, so why on earth are we saying that to ourselves?
yeah,
What, and like you said, like there has to be that alarm bell. Like, would you say this to another person? And if you would not say that to a friend,
yes.
we don't say that to us.
I was speaking to someone and they shared with me, I'm not losing fast enough. I've been on the program for 7 weeks. I've lost 7.5 pounds. I said,
That's amazing.
boop, 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 boop. Wait a minute.
Pump the
What?
brakes.
What did you just say? You've lost over a pound a week and you're telling me you're not losing fast enough? I said, if your girlfriend called you up and said, I'm feeling really great. I've been on program for 7 weeks. I've lost 7.5 pounds. I've been eating more veggies. I've been walking more, drinking more water. Would you tell that friend, I'm sorry, you're not working hard enough? You
Yeah,
haven't lost fast
you
enough?
failed.
Right. Like,
No.
and this person was like, no, I wouldn't do that. I said, why are you doing that to yourself? We're all
Yeah.
guilty of it though. It's
Right.
easier as coaches or as other members in workshop hearing it on the outside looking in. It's so easy for us to say, talk to yourself like a friend. Why would you
Yeah.
say that? But we do it to ourselves and sometimes we don't even notice it's happening. And I think that's why talking about it, so we have that sounding board.
I
It
was just going to
helps
say that, just
us.
getting it out, saying it out loud. In our workshops, we say that all the time. Like, do you want to talk about challenges? And I always tell people, I love when we can bring challenges to the workshop because just saying them out loud, recognizing that we're not alone, and getting that support from others that we are obviously not getting from ourselves at the current moment. Because
Mhm.
sometimes we just need to hear it. It's a human nature that sometimes we just, and think about, because you teach kids, like sometimes like you could tell them the exact same thing their parents did, and they'll run home and tell their parents, they're like, I told you to do that. But you know what I mean? Like, it's, if you tell your kid to do something and then they just think, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And then which is what we do to ourselves. Like, we
Yeah.
think that we don't know what we're talking about. And then we hear it from somebody else and we're like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
What?
absolutely that sounding board, having a community, having a support system, and just saying it out loud, telling somebody, look, I'm having a struggle. Especially if somebody is on the same kind of journey as you, they're not going to tell you, like, they're not going to judge you. They're not going to tell you that you're not doing good enough, and it's just,
Right.
I feel like sometimes we have that fear that either we're going to say it to ourselves or somebody's going to say it to us. And I don't know if I've ever had somebody tell me that other than
No.
in my own brain,
Right.
so
Yes,
it's just,
we are the
yeah.
ones that put the pressure on ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
the deadlines,
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, gosh, I've been on this 2 years, I'm not at goal yet. Well, who told me I had to be a goal in 2 years?
Yeah.
Me and myself alone. Why did I,
Yeah.
you know, so I'm just so thankful we have our community, that we have the ability to talk about these things, because without it, I don't even think I would have gotten as far as I did. And I certainly wouldn't have protected the progress because,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard, y'all. It's not easy to
Hmm.
show up and take care of yourself every single day.
Yeah.
Um, and I think too, we've touched on it a little bit, but I just want to drive it home, is when you do feel the negative mindset creeping in and you're wondering, how do I pull myself out of it? It's time to check back in with the why. Like
Hmm.
Rachel and I mentioned, we could go back and listen to our first episode if we
Yeah.
needed a friendly reminder. We have that documented now,
Yeah.
right? But to get reconnected with the why and really spend time with it. And if it's not serving you, maybe it's time to reevaluate, readdress what it really is. Why do you want to show up and be a healthy
Hmm.
person? Because at the end of the day, it does take commitment, it does take consistency, but it's worth it. So,
And then just getting back to those basics, setting those small doable goals, setting
mm,
those little. I'm a firm believer in micro goals, and especially if it's something like us backsliding or feeling like we're not as committed or we're not on track, as some people say. It's just one thing.
mhm.
Because when we can handle that one thing and set that one little goal, like my goal this week, I mean, I've been getting a blue dot just about every day, which is very exciting for those of us on WW. You know what that
Yay!
means. But drinking 60 ounces of water, which is 3 of these a day, and I've been doing that every single day. That was one goal. And once we hit these goals, then that feels good. And we get that pride and that
Mhm.
confidence. And then, we set another very small goal. And I feel like sometimes people feel like, oh, I have to be back at 100% to where I was before. And that's not the case either, because even that can kind of backslide us. That can affect our mindset of, oh, why am I not as good as I was before? You don't have to be. We're in a different part of our journey now. Set those
Mhm.
smaller goals, just reach for those little things. Because like I said, different place, different part of the journey. We can absolutely take different steps now than we did before, but still leaning on those habits that helped us in the first place.
Right. And
I
I
feel like that
think
was a
it's
very
so
backwards way to explain that.
I think it's so important, y'all, because Rachel said, set those small goals.
Hmm.
When we hit them, we feel good. It builds our confidence. I feel like only if we take the time to celebrate the fact that we just did that, right?
Yeah.
Just like we, have had those moments, maybe you've overeaten or you like had something you didn't plan and you beat yourself up about it. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If you flip the script, if you did something that you're really proud of, spend the time talking about it. Like, I hit my water goal today. I took care of my body. My body needs water to
Yeah.
function. My skin is thanking me. Like, having that conversation, whether it's in your heart, out loud, on a piece of paper, but taking that time, because that's what really builds the confidence, recognizing that, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. Like, I'm taking care of myself. It really helps to build the momentum. Did you share your star goal, Rachel? Was it the water, or was there something, were we
No, yeah,
segueing
no,
into that?
yes, absolutely. So yeah, getting to, our goals. We set goals every single week. And so we do our star goal principle. Setting a star goal stands for something that's specific, truly doable, has an action, and it's relevant. And mine is just to get back with my tracking, because I was getting very lax with my tracking, and more specifically with my evening snacking, because
Mm,
I would do really good all day. And then at nighttime I would, grab a cupcake and be like, oh, well, it's okay. I don't need it. But by not doing that, I wasn't seeing how much extra, how much extra, how much extra every single day. And it's kind of funny, because now that I told myself, like, nope, if I still grab one, I just got to make sure I track it. I haven't grabbed one, because I'm like, I don't want that number to go high. But it's also, so it's shifted my mindset into, because I said, I mean, it's a Thursday for us. And so this has been my goal all week.
mhm.
I've been doing really good with it. And so last night I really did want a snack at like 9. Had some grapes, had my little Baby Bell. Remember, I've talked about that before. I love my grapes and Baby Bell.
Yes.
Because fruit needs friends. And and it was just 2 little points. And so I was really happy with that. So I know I just tracking, making sure that I'm doing my tracking. But my recommendation for this week for people is, even if you have not experienced a negative mindset, I just feel like we should have a game plan. And I think
Mhm.
that's why I've been getting better and better and better at dealing with the negative mindset, because I have realized what's worked for me in the past, and that's turning to a community. That's voicing, oh, I'm having a struggle. That's just talking about it a lot. So that's my strategy. So I know when I'm recognizing a negative mindset, how to go about it. So I feel like just having that game plan in mind. So once you are recognizing, you're like, okay, next step, how do I do it? Where am I going with this? And just having that game plan. So that's my recommendations, having a game plan for a potential negative mindset. So what's your star goal for this week?
My star goal is that I will only go through the drive-through for breakfast maximum of 2 times. I had gotten into the habit of going to the drive-through for breakfast, which I do have low point options for this. And I feel like, do we have fast food on our list of things to talk about? That's totally off the subject.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually we will talk about that. But so I have go-to low point options, but even then it's taking up a bigger portion of my budget than if I would have just made something similar at home. And then it creates more space for flexibility in the evening when I'm having dinner with my partner and I just want some more options. So far so good. I have stuck with that intention, and I gave myself the guideline of 2 because I wanted to be realistic. But that doesn't even mean I have to go through 2 times. It could be 1 time or no times if I don't think it's worth it. So that's my star goal and my recommendation. For those of you that have the WW app, is to check out the Walk Talks. It's on your My Day page with your points. You just have to scroll until you see pictures of Oprah and others. The specific Walk Talk that I want to recommend for this week is Lessons from My WW Journey with Oprah. Specifically because it ties so well into what Rachel and I were talking about, this idea of the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like Oprah mentions in the podcast, instead of saying, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, she's reframed it to, I am looking forward to my second wind. I am looking forward to my second win. And that just positive take really kind of helped her push through some tiring experiences. So for more on that, I really encourage y'all to check out that specific Walk Talk.
That's a nice one. I know I've been hearing a lot this week from others about the Dr. Sanjay Gupta one, and I legit scheduled myself to listen to that today when I go for my afternoon walk. So
that's a great one too.
To that one today. Well, it is time for us to wrap it up, though. I do want to thank everybody for listening in, and I would like to ask you guys if you ever want to give us a little gift. Tell a friend about the podcast, right? Give us a review, give us a little star rating, whatever you want to do. But just if you ever want to show us some love, share us with a friend, even if you just told one person this week. Yeah, I'm like, that's my recommendation. Tell one person about us.
No, but seriously, for friends who are on WW, share it on Connect with others. Because I'm so thankful all the workshop members out there that are listening to us and celebrating us in workshops. We really appreciate that. There's a whole wide world of Connect that, if you share, if you're enjoying it, that would really mean a lot to us. So.
Definitely. So, all right, guys. Well, it is time for us to head out. So thanks for dropping by.
Have a magical day. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.